5, and we will be reporting Article 1 of the Philippines a century hence. The Philippines a century hence, or originally called Pilipinas dentro de 100 años, is an essay written by our national hero Jose Rizal to predict the country's future in 100 years. This article was originally published serially in the Filipino fortnightly review La Solidaridad of Madrid, running through the issues from September 1889 to January 1890. It supplements Rizal's great novel Nole Me Tangere and its sequel El Filibusterismo. Article 1, or best described by the Code. In order to read the destiny of the people, it is necessary to open the book of its past. Scarcely had they been attached to the Spanish crown that they had to sustain with their blood and the efforts of their sons the wars and the ambitions of conquest of the Spanish people. And in these struggles, in that terrible crisis, when a people changes its form of government, its laws, usages, customs, religions, and beliefs, the Philippines were depopulated, impoverished, and retarded. Caught in their metamorphosis, without confidence in their past, without faith in their present, and with no fond hope for the years to come. The former rulers who had merely endeavored to secure the fear and submission of their subjects, habituated by them to servitude, feel like leaves from a dead tree, and the people who had no love for them nor knew what liberty was, easily changed masters, perhaps hoping to gain something by the innovation. The next slide will be reported of the next report.
I'm Engine Cadet Neil Samuel V. Montibon, and I'm here to discuss slide number 5 and number 6. So, slide number 5. Then began a new era for the Filipinos. They gradually lost their traditions, their recollections. They forgot their writings, their songs, their poetry, their laws, in order to learn by heart other doctrines, which they did not understand, other ethics, other tastes, different from those inspired in their race by their climate and their way of thinking. Then there was a falling off. They were lowered in their own eyes. They became ashamed of what was distinctively their own. In order to admire and praise what was foreign and incomprehensible, their spirit was broken and they acquiesced. So the Filipinos had a new era, and they lost their ancient traditions and their spirit was broken. Slide number 6. Thus years and centuries rolled on. Religious shows, rites that caught the eye, songs, lights, images, arrayed with gold, worship in a strange language, legends, miracles, and sermons hypnotized the already naturally superstitious spirit of the country, but did not succeed in destroying it altogether. In spite of the whole system, afterwards developed and operated with unyielding
tenacity. And today I will discuss the slide 7 and 8. When the ethical abasement of the inhabitants had reached this stage, when they had become disheartened and disgusted with themselves, an effort was made toward the final stroke for reducing so many dormant wills and intellect to nothingness, in order to make of the individual a sort of toiler, a brute, a base of burden, and develop the race without mind or heart. Then the end so was rebelled. It was taken for granted. The race was insulted and effort was made to deny it every virtue, every human characteristic, and there were even writers and priests who pushed the movement still further by trying to deny to natives of the country not only capacity for virtue but also win the tendency to vice. And so, slide 8. So great endurance reached its climax with the insults, and the lethargic spirit woke to life. His sensitiveness, the chief trait of the native, was touched, and while he had the forbearance to suffer and die under the foreign flag, he had it not vain they whom they served repaid his sacrifices with the insults and jest. Then he began to study himself and to realize with his misfortune. Those who had not expected this result, like all despotic master, regarding wrong every compliment, every protest, and punishment, punished in with date, endeavoring those to stifle every cry of sorrow with blood, and they made mistake after mistake.
I am Engine Cadet Yusuken Bimata. Today I am going to discuss the slide 9 and 10. The spirit of the people was not thereby cowed, and even though it had been awakened in only a few hearts, its flame nevertheless was surely and consumingly propagated, thanks to the abuses and the stupid endeavors of certain classes to stifle noble and generous sentiments. Thus, when a flame catches a garment, fear and confusion propagate it more and more, and each shake, each blow is a blast from the bellows to fan it into life. Undoubtedly, during all this time there were not lacking generous and noble spirits among the dominant race that tried to struggle from the rights of humanity and justice, or sordid a cowardly ones among the dominated that aided the basement of their own country. But both were exceptions, and we are speaking in general terms. That's all.
I'm the Cadet Igot. So I'm going to discuss slide 11 and 12, article 1. So, just as an outline of their past, we know their present, know what will their future be. Will the Philippine Island continue to be a Spanish colony, and so what kind of colony? So, will they become a province of Spain with or without autonomy? So, and to reach this stage, what kind of sacrifice will have to be made? So, will they be separated from the mother country to live independently, to fall into hands of other nations, or to ally themselves with neighboring powers? So, it is possible to reply to this question for all of them, but yes and no may be the answer according to the time desired to be covered. When there is in a nature no fixed condition, how much less must there be in the life of a people? Being endowed with mobility and movement, so it is that in order to deal to these questions, it is necessary to pressure a limited period of time, and in accordance therewith try to forecast before events. So that's all.